Hello, 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 hello. It's Catherine Massell here, spiritual growth mentor, master energy healer. We are in day 2 of the Reinvent Yourself workshop. So I'm going to wait for a few people to come on. And I'm going to put a few links in here. Angela's here. Hello, hello. Who else is here? Bonita's here. Hello. My other creatrices, my fellow creatrices. Who else is here? Say hello. Let me know you're here. Svetlana's here. Another fellow creatrix. I'm going to put some links in here because today, full disclosure, yes, this event is an amazing free event with lots of actionable content, with lots of value for you. But yes, I am pushing and promoting a program that is absolutely amazing. Become the Creatrix starts February 7th. If you like this 3-day workshop, if this opens up some doors for you, if this shifts your perception a little bit, allows you to see maybe the possibility of what can be for you, then the Become the Creatrix workshop is your key, your passageway, the steps, the plan for you to take this work even further and to unbe the old you, literally unwire, deprogram the old you, the old self, the old way of being that may have been self-negating or limiting in some way, and giving you the steps, the plan to create a whole new reality, personal identity for you going forth, of your own design, of your deliberate design. Because many of us feel like what's falling away, and if you're like me, there's stuff that's been falling away, shedding layers, shedding like sheets, layers of old identity. If you are not clear on who it is that you want to become, you're just going to kind of go back to those old ways of being unless you can deliberately orchestrate and be the architect of a new way of being. So if you are interested in Become the Creatrix program, what I'm doing today is the discount starts today for $500 off this program. This is my signature program going forward because this offers the greatest container of transformation that I have ever offered. I'm only opening it up to 8 women. Maybe going forward I'll open it up to 10 women, but I want to be able to work with you more intimately and exclusively. So this is an exclusive, this is a signature program for me. Getting in on this now means you get $500 off the price. So it's $1,250, and that's a one-time, it's a single payment investment. Not doing payment plans on this. I'll explain that in a second, why I'm not offering a payment plan. On Monday, this goes back up to $1,750, which is still completely worth it. So I'm going to put the link in here. The cart is officially open for this course. If you like what I'm throwing down in this workshop, you are absolutely going to love this program, Become the Creatrix. So there is the link if you want to get in on this program and you want to absolutely change your whole entire personal reality. This is a program that offers shifts like you have never experienced. It's pretty crazy. The women that I've worked with have done things like, well, one of the women that I worked with just hit the $1 million mark in her business. It didn't happen overnight. It's not like she went from making $3,000 and went to $1 million. She had been cultivating this for some time, but she could never quite get to that point. She just did her taxes for the year and realized that she hit the $1 million mark. Using this plan, these steps that I show you, that I share with you, that are easy to follow and are like a rinse and repeat. So whatever you want to change, if you want to unwire some old programming, or deprogram yourself from an emotion, a way of being, which is what we're going to do here today. If you want to be a more brilliant manifester, this is not a manifesting program. This goes well beyond manifesting programs because we go a lot deeper in here. It's literally deprogramming your old way of being and becoming someone new. So this is something that takes you very, very deep down the rabbit hole of getting very familiar with who you are, recognizing and being able to admit and declare certain things about who you are, radically accepting who you have been up to this point, and being able to look at it and say, okay, this needs to shift, this needs to change. This is who I desire to become, and actually reprogramming you to become that person. This is not a passive course. The reason why I don't offer a payment plan on this program is this reason. Your level of commitment in this course needs to match your financial and your energy investment. Because you get into about week 2, week 3, and you start looking at the way you have been and the way you still are and how you keep bringing your past into your present and ultimately your future. And you start looking at the way that you are conditioned to be. It can be really sobering. And for some who aren't really ready to do this work, who really aren't ready to call themselves out on their own bullshit, on their own programming, they tend to want to drop this like a hot potato. I'm not going to tell you this work is easy. What I will tell you, though, for those who have gone beyond that week 2, week 3 mark, and have been able to realize that they can actually start stepping into new, greater, much more expanded potentials for themselves, that hard work that they had to do in week 2 and 3, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. But you, like I said in yesterday's call, you're going to kick and scream and fight and throw tantrums. The ego is not going to like it. You are not programmed for this level of change necessarily, so you're going to fight it initially. I give you all the tools to see what's going on and why you fight it. And when you know why you're fighting it, it's a lot easier to kind of do something, right? But if you are not fully invested in this course, meaning you're doing a payment plan and it's only a couple $100, there's a really great potential you might just want to back out. And I've had programs before where I've offered a payment plan where I have taken a bath on a payment plan because the work gets tough. People see what they're facing. They don't really want that level of transformation. They didn't know what that meant in the get-go. Your single payment investment of $1,250 means that you are all in, because this work requires you to be energetically all in. Financially, if you match that vibration, you tend to show up and do this work, and you tend to push through the hard times. You tend to push through the struggle and the suffering and the ego kicking and screaming. Does that make sense? Give me a heart if that makes sense. This $500 off deal is only available through Sunday at 9 p.m. Pacific time. If you want to jump on this, if you want to change your life, if you want to radically change your future, your present and your future, because things start shifting right away when we do this work, this is the program for you. And it's very exciting to work with me in this way, because how I have seen women shift. I had a woman who actually worked on clearing up her chronic inflammation. She had internal and external inflammation. She had chronic dermatitis, atopic dermatitis, and she had chronic inflammation in the body. It's been 8 weeks, 9 weeks now, and she is symptom-free. Another woman hit the $1 million mark in her business. That just happened at the end of last year. She hit the $1 million mark before December 31st. Doing this work, doing these exact steps that I share with you. Another woman, incredible transformation story. She left her marriage of 22 years. It was a really toxic relationship. Had this dream of starting a business right on the heels of this divorce. The ink wasn't even dry on her papers yet. She started this new business that had been her brainchild, had been this thing that just lived in her imagination for so long. And she just felt the momentum, the change happening, the transformation. She felt so optimistic. She started this business, and it is thriving. She's left her 9-to-5 job. She left her husband of 22 years. She started this new business, and it is successful, and it is thriving, and it is growing. There's really no limit to what you can do with these steps. You can use it to transform anything. How we're going to use this today, I'm going to show you a little bit, give you a little taste of what is in this course, because we are going to take what we did with yesterday's. I invited you yesterday in the call to look at what might be that core emotion for you that is driving you, that has allowed you to, well, kept you, I should say, in limitation. Or, hi Heather, has kept you in a place of lack, or feeling like you're not creating momentum in your life, you're not moving forward. At the core of who you are, there is one emotion. And there might be other fragmentary emotions, and I talked about that yesterday. If you need more information on that, go back and watch day 1. But there is a core emotion that is driving you to keep being the same old you, and to keep bringing that past you into the present, into the future, day in and day out. Until you break that pattern, until you deprogram that and stop firing that chemical response that creates that emotion, you are doomed to a predictable destiny, meaning you will just live out the same level of being over and over and over again. So what we're going to do today is an actual clearing. We're going to do a release of this emotion. We go much deeper with this and become the Creatrix, because there are actually steps to the deprogramming that go deeper than this, what I'm sharing with you today, but this gives you a taste. And it is a very freeing, very liberating, and uplifting feeling to be able to remove this emotion. So we're going to do that today. If you didn't watch day 1, go ahead and watch day 1. You can find it on my YouTube channel. If you are signed up to my email list, I am sending you the replays. If you signed up for my email list either yesterday afternoon or today, I will be sending you day 1 and day 2 in today's email, okay? Along with the link to get in on this course, a little more information on Become the Creatrix. We start February 7th at, I forget what time, I think 10 a.m. Pacific time on Zoom. All the calls are recorded. It's a private Facebook group. There's a lot of support for you there. There's always bonus energy activations. There's talks. But we are going to be jumping in on February 7th. If you want to get in on this course, I'm only opening it up for 8 women. Okay? Jump on this price. It's $500 off. The price goes back up on Sunday night after 9 p.m. Pacific time. Yesterday, I invited you to do a couple things. I asked you to look at maybe some events, some experiences in your life that have like a common theme, meaning there's like a baseline, there's a core feeling and emotion that's driving you. It's a theme that kind of runs throughout experiences, events, maybe relationships that you've had in your life. So what is that core feeling? What is that? Is it lack? Is it unworthiness? And feel free to put it in the comments here if you like. Is it shame? Is it guilt? Is it fear? Is it disempowerment? It could be any number of things, but there might be a couple different emotions. You might be saying yes to all those I just said, but if you had to pick one that feels like it's the core one that kind of informs all the other emotions you might be feeling, what would that be? Yesterday I mentioned, for me it was lack. For me, for a long time, it was lack. I'm now working on a little bit more not enoughness, right? Which is the same as lack, but lack for me was in terms of not seeing enough love, support, financial or otherwise in my life. And not enoughness is really feeling like kind of battling this feeling, and many women feel this way, kind of battling that feeling of feeling like a fraud or feeling like an imposter. You've heard imposter syndrome, that little phrase get thrown around. That's my not enoughness. And yes, if I don't look out for it, it's sneaky, these emotions. So you might think, okay, well, I have that emotion under control, but when something gets derailed in your life, or you have some reaction to something that happens in your outer environment, something triggers you, you tend to go back to an old way of being based on this old emotion that's driving you, okay? Heather says, I first thought it was lack, but with closer look, it's unworthy of receiving. There you go. And those are two different things, right? And you noticed, Heather, when you probably kind of sussed that out, that at first blush, it might seem like those things are really similar. They're similar, but they are not the same, right? Give me a heart if that makes sense or resonates with you, because the not enoughness is something I had to work on after the lack, right? Svetlana says, I found that one emotion that is core in every part of my life, lack of love, not enoughness. Thanks to the Money Lab, yes, which is now called the Wealth Consciousness Collective. That starts on February 1st, which is amazing because not only do you clear up your money story in the Wealth Consciousness Collective, but so many things in your life shift. And you're able to identify that core emotion in that course too, right, Svetlana? You're able to get pretty clear on your limitation and your lack that you're holding on to in that course. So what is that one emotion? What is that one emotion? Because that's what we're going to take into this, we're going to take it into this creative space. And in this creative space, we're working with this energy with releasing today. But when I bring you into the Become the Creatrix program, we also go into this creative space to create, okay? There are two parts of this energy. It's literally the womb and the tomb. The tomb is where we release, and the womb is where we create. But it's two parts of the same energy. I mean, if you think in terms of the duality that we live in, everything has a counter energy, right? But what's amazing about the release, when you release in this space, what you're doing is you are creating free energy within you, within that higher intelligence that moves through you, within the universe. What you are doing is freeing up energy, and that allows you to tap into more of your creative momentum. It's really this beautiful and profound like dance that happens, and it's really wonderful, and you're going to get a taste of that right here today, right here today. So when we do this, which is just going to be in a moment from now, so if you have some water, or if you want to make sure you kind of look around and see anything that's going to disturb your space, we're going to go into this meditative space. It's going to be about 20 minutes. Might want to make sure that you're not going to be disturbed for that time, that nothing's going to kind of take you out of this space. You can always come back to it and listen to it, but get yourself some water. It's always great to be hydrated when we go into a creative space. I'm actually going to cue up some music. And then after that is over, we're going to work on this other part, which is we are going to go into, because we're creating this vacuum. Remember I talked yesterday about when you do some releasing, you're creating an energetic void. So you never want to leave that just open. You want to come back at that with some intentionality. You want to have a desire that you would like to fill up that vacuum, that void with, okay? So we're going to work on a little bit of clarity. I'm going to walk you through that very, very briefly. Again, this is just a taste of what I offer in Become the Creatrix. And then I'm going to give you a really powerful couple things for you to take away with you here today. The Visit Your Alternate Self Trance Meditation that helps you get a lot of clarity on who that ideal version of you is. Who is that highest ideal of you that you would like to become? Maybe that seems just kind of like this blurry, nebulous concept right now, but when you do the Visit Your Alternate Self Trance Meditation, you get very, very clear. You get to go into this creative space again, where you get to kind of play with and step into that desired you, that highest ideal of you. And also an exercise that gives you, I think there's two parts of really creating a whole new reality for yourself. Reinventing yourself involves two really powerful things. Having intentionality and clarity on who it is that you want to become. And the other part of that is why you want to become her. Because we might say, and this is why a lot of us fail with our resolutions or our decisions to make change or transformation in our lives, one of the biggest reasons why we fail is because we don't have profound purpose, creating this momentum behind why we want to make this change, why we want to become this person, why we want to be, do, or have this thing. Our why is everything. And our why is everything because the nature of our reality, our modern day society, this kind of survival mode consciousness that's pervasive in the world we live in today, it's going to trigger you. Little things are going to come into your life. You're going to feel derailed. You might have a lot of intentionality and you might be really focused and really disciplined on creating this you that you are creating every single day. But meanwhile, life is happening outside, right? Your external reality's got other things going on, and there are certain things as you're making this transformation while you're in this gap. There are things in the external reality that are going to trigger you. They're going to derail you from what you're trying to create. If your why, your purpose for doing this work is so strong, it creates this immovable force within you so that nothing in your external reality can move you from this mission of creating this new you. So your why is everything. So I'm going to share a really powerful thing for you that you can just jump online. It's a really quick website, or really quick steps on a website, 7 levels deep. And it takes you into asking the same reason, or asking you the same question 7 times, because every time you get asked that question, like, why are you creating a life without fear? Let's just say, why would you want to take the Become the Creatrix program? What's your why? Why do you want to change who you are? And it keeps asking, why? And what happens is you go from this place, from answering from the top of your head to answering from here, from the heart. 7 levels deep. So let's get into the work for today. So get yourselves comfy. It's good to be seated, but you can be laying down if you like. I'm actually going to cue up some music that I love. I shared this with my Mother Creatrix DNA group yesterday. Angela, you'll remember it. It's really beautiful. And I'll put the link up. So if you guys want to have this for your own use, you'll have it. I love sharing my favorite meditation tracks because they're so amazing. Okay. There you go. I don't know if you guys can hear the music. It's not necessary, but you can cue it up on your end too. It's so lovely. It's like a chorus of angels singing. It's so pretty. Okay. So all you have to do, don't worry, I will guide you through everything. All you have to do is be able to like conjure up that emotion. You may even want to, if you have a pen and a paper in front of you, write it down. Write it down. What is that core emotion that you would like to release here today? What you believe to be in this moment. And you may even find as we do this meditation that it might be another emotion that's more powerful than this one. That's okay too. But for right now, as far as you can tell, and don't worry, in the Become the Creatrix program, we nail this emotion. I help you figure out what this is. Just write it down. You may want to say it out loud to yourself. But the second you write it down or you say it, just let it go. Let it go. Don't attach yourself to it. Okay? Just kind of be in the energy of reviewing it, but not necessarily reliving that feeling. And then get yourself comfy. If you're seated, feet flat on the floor. Maybe you have your hands in your lap with your palms facing up. This is a gesture of receiving, because we are receiving healing energy in this space too. Might want to roll your shoulders back, open up the heart space. Yet another gesture of receiving. Opens up the heart, allows you to breathe easier. And on that note, just take a couple deep breaths in. Just really settle into this energy. Get really present. You may want to look around the room. See the space around you. Connect with anything that makes you feel more present, awake, or aware. Could be looking outside your window like I am and looking at a beautiful big Jeffrey pine tree in the backyard. Looking at the sunlight in the leaves. Maybe you're looking at a plant in your room. Anything that makes you feel right here, right now. And as you connect with this thing that you are focused or attentive to, get really aware of the breath. Breathe in and out. And on the next breath in, hold for a moment before exhaling. And then let it out. Just feel your whole body relax. as you do that. Feel the heaviness of your limbs. Feel your back against the chair that you're seated in, the heaviness of your hands in your lap. Anything that draws you further into the present moment, the now moment. Anything that does that allows you to connect with pure creative energy. Anytime you connect profoundly with the present, you are connecting with infinite potentials of creative ways of being. And now go ahead and just close your eyes. As you continue to focus on the breath, you don't have to take deep breaths in here, just focus on the even rise and fall of the breath in your chest. And in your mind's eye, connect with like a really just beautiful, shimmery, bright white light. It may have golden or silvery specks or shimmers to it, and it's just above the crown of your head. And imagine this opening up like an egg, like cracking an egg, and all this beautiful, warm, almost liquidy light spills over you slowly, going from the top of the head down through the face, relaxing all the muscles of the scalp and the face and the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, the chest, down through the arms, the elbows, the wrists, down to the fingertips, relaxing all of the muscles as this beautiful shimmery liquid light spills over you, going down through the chest, the lower back, the belly, going down through the hips, your legs, knees, calves, and ankles, over the tops of the feet, down to the heels, the soles of the feet, and to the tips of the toes. And as this beautiful, shimmery, warm, liquid light goes down even further, pulling any heavy or dense energy out of the body and down into the layers of the earth. As it pulls this energy down, it is transmuting and transforming this energy into even more brilliant light. And taking this all the way down into the core, the heart of Mother Earth. And further transmuting this energy here as you anchor and ground into this space. And notice how this beautiful light has transformed to this kind of rose gold, shimmery light. And it comes all the way back up through this pillar of energy, back up through all the layers of the earth, through the soles of the feet, up and into the heart space. And imagine this forms a sphere of this beautiful rose gold energy in the heart. Breathing into this light, and as you breathe into it, you are expanding it out, filling up the entirety of your physical being, and then continuing to expand this out in a sphere 360 degrees around your physical body, expanding this out further and faster past the town you're in, the state, past the country, past the continent, expanding until it is enveloping, expanded all the way around planet Earth. Just give a blessing of gratitude and love to the entire planet and every being on it. breathing in deep gratitude for your planetary home and all of its life-sustaining, life-affirming qualities. Now expand this out even further, past the white lights, past the dark lights, expanding out further and faster to the edges of the universe. And coming upon this space now, and you can either be standing in front or floating in front of this space that looks like a cluster of billions and billions of stars, where the brightness is concentrated in the center. And you may see this as like some purplish, kind of violet silver, some gold, maybe some crimson red in there too. This beautiful nebula, this cluster of billions of stars. And you are either standing or floating in front of it. And you look at how colossal this is. It is massive in front of you, and you are in awe of this space. And you feel the power and the energy of this. This is the energy of the portal that leads to the womb of pure creation, the womb of all consciousness. Just feel the awe of this space, the power. And you feel gently guided now to a place in the center that is now becoming more illuminated, and it's even opening to a passageway, a portal, a tunnel. And you feel gently pulled by your heart space, lovingly guided through this tunnel, this portal. And you are floating, gliding, being gently guided through this portal to the other side. Notice how you feel as you are going through the space, traveling through this tunnel. It may feel like a vortex, a tunnel, passageway. You may see lights. You may hear sounds. You might smell something. Just notice what comes in without attaching to it. Just allow it to float into your consciousness and float right out. And notice now how you are on the other side of this tunnel. And you see this space as deep black, almost like the deepest navy blue black void of space, speckled with stars. On one side, which is to the left, it feels very warm and womb-like, very expansive, this void. And to the right, there is a part that's clearly defined. However you see it as clearly defined is entirely right and perfect for you. But another part of this space that is much darker, less illuminated by stellar energy, and it almost looks like another tunnel, a space, a void. Both of these are part of the same one energy of pure source consciousness, the womb of all creation. But to the right is the tomb, to the left is the womb. In the womb, all creative energy takes place to create from the void that which you desire. And to the right is the tomb, where the releasing of all of that which you no longer desire to experience, any event, emotion, any kind of remembrance, experience, anything in your past that you desire to release, can be sent to this space for transmutation, and it frees up creative energy then in the womb. So you may see this as like a tube torus of energy. You may see it as like a circle of energy. However you experience this separation between the two, but united in the same way, however you experience that is perfect and right for you. And I want you to call up that emotion. What is that? And say it out loud. Lack, not enoughness, struggle, suffering, guilt, shame, anger, frustration, fear. Speak it into this void, and you may imagine these words turning into vapor or just dissolving into this tomb. Know that as you speak it into this space, this void, the energy is instantly transmuted as you release it. As you declare that which you no longer desire to be part of your frequency, you are sending it into the void, the tomb of the womb, for transmutation so that it is freed up and transforms into creative energy. And you may envision this as the womb space becoming larger, more expanded, ready to take on new energies, ready to take on your new desires, passions, intentions, goals, and freely create them without resistance. And just take notice of how you feel when you release this. And you may also want to come up with a statement that is stated in the affirmative that kind of aligns with this. So if you are holding on to guilt, for instance, you may want to admit and declare to this void something that you feel around guilt. I hold on to guilt so that I don't have to take steps forward in my life. Admit something you would like to release around that core emotion into this space. And notice how you feel as you admit and declare that. What you are doing is lessening the gap, closing the gap between the you that is the real you and the you feel you have to present to the world. Anytime you admit and declare something about yourself on this level that has been diminishing you, keeping you in lack or limitation, you close the gap between the real you and the you that you feel you have to present to the world to be accepted. I feel an opening for the few of you that are here. It feels very expansive. Right as I said that, it just felt like a shift or a click. And just spend another moment in the space. Get familiar with what this space feels like, because you can come back to this anytime you like to release anything you wish. And now thanking the energy of this space. Feeling profound gratitude for being able to connect with the higher intelligence of the universe on this level, and knowing that you can come back to this at any time you wish. Imagine turning around and going back through that tunnel. And I know some of you feel like, I don't want to leave, but it's okay, you can come back anytime you like. Imagine yourself much faster now going through this portal, this passageway, this tunnel, until you are back outside of this nebula, this cluster of billions of stars that is the entrance to the womb of the universe. And as you take a deep breath in, imagine pulling yourself back into the heart space, pulling back that sphere that is stretched out to the corners of the universe, the borders of the universe, pulling that all back in to your heart space. Seeing that beautiful rose gold light settle back into the heart of Mother Earth. Feeling yourself anchored and rooted there, saying out loud, I am grounded, I am grounded, I am grounded. And then bringing this beautiful and pristine energy back up through all the layers of the earth, through the soles of the feet, all the way back up through the body to the top of the head. and allowing yourself to gently, energetically disconnect now. And when you feel like you are back, go ahead and take a deep breath in and open your eyes. And then go ahead and put in the comments if you want to sum up in a word or two how that was for you. Go ahead and put that in the comments. Share that with us here in this space. You want to drink some water. Anytime we do some releasing, you want to make sure any physical toxins that are aligned with that energetic vibration get released from the body too. So drink some water today. Anytime you run this exercise, this release technique, make sure you drink lots of water. You may find that when you come back in this space that your vision's a little bit blurry, so just go ahead and focus on something maybe that you focused on in the beginning before we started this exercise. Just go ahead and focus on that for a minute. You may want to look at the floor and look at your feet on the floor and connect with the fact that you are grounded. Hi, Dina. And then give me some hearts or give me something. I don't even know if you guys are still alive here. Did I put you all to sleep? Give me some comments, some feedback. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Did it feel like a release for you? There's some hearts. Bonita says, wow. At the end of the illuminated tunnel, I see the dark area with less sparkles that you described before you got... Oh, cool. Before you even described it, you saw it, huh? That's awesome. Very cool. Let me see. Let me make sure I can see the comments. I'm going to refresh my feed here because I feel like I'm not seeing everyone who's here. Okay. Svetlana says, it was so beautiful. First I felt that I'm not allowed into the space, and I saw an angel pulling me there. And then there was Mother Mary, beautiful, who supported me, and she said that everything will work out for me. Beautiful. Oh, that's gorgeous. Thank you for sharing that, Svetlana. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much. You're welcome. You are welcome. So that is a nice little tool that you can use anytime you like. This is just a taste of what we do in the Become the Creatrix program. We go into a lot more depth with this because this is just part of disengaging, deconstructing the old you. This is just one part of it. It is a very spelled out method, a plan of different steps that it takes for you to unwire, deprogram the old you. This is just a part of it. Felt very relaxing, liberating, and peaceful. Beautiful, Heather. I'm so glad. I'm glad that you had that experience. So now, where does that leave us? Well, tears in my eyes. Yeah, I know it. You can get a little teary with this one because the connection is really profound when you go into, you're connecting with, I mean, those of you who've been following me for a while, you know I work with Mother Creatrix energy. So what you are creating or what you are connecting to in this space is Mother Creatrix energy, literally the womb of all cosmic consciousness, the birthplace of all creation, all awareness. So connecting at that very profound level and releasing into that space, I mean, you're going straight to source. You're going straight to the highest connection possible to release. There's no middleman, so, or middle woman. You're going right to Mama Creatrix. So it's a very, very powerful place to be. Stephanie says, I only arrived 5 minutes ago. I'll have to listen to it again, but it looks like what we do. Yes, it is what we do in, so Stephanie is in my Evolve and Expand program, which is the first incarnation of Become the Creatrix. And this is what we do together in this space. So Stephanie, you're not missing much because you do this every day. Dina says, came in late. I'll be replaying for sure. Awesome. Okay. Yes, you'll love it. You will love it. And because of the upheaval that many of us are experiencing now, so many of us are having some real difficulties, some real challenges with the energies present now. This is a great way to not only connect with that higher intelligence that's really running the show. It's not the ego that's running the show. It's just perceived that the ego is running the show. Mama Creatrix is really running the show, okay? That higher intelligence. It seems like you're connecting with something out there, but it's actually something you're connecting to within you. So connecting at this level not only kind of brings everything, all the craziness that's going on, it kind of brings it all back in, so we can make sense of it, and allows us to feel connected and back in our bodies again. But it also allows us this ability to release, so that we feel like we're not fighting a bunch of different conflicting emotions. So you can use this for anything that you want to release. It could be a past event, it could be an emotion like we did here today. It could be releasing ties from a person in your life. Maybe you've had a really toxic person that you've had to extricate yourself from, and you want to release all tethers, hooks, cords, and attachments. You can do that in this space too. We use this space, as I mentioned, to go back in and create in this space and become the creatrix. So it's used for everything. And when you connect at this level, it is a profound connection, and things shift very quickly when we learn how to actively, every day, connect at this level. So what do we do now? Now we've created this kind of energetic void. So what is it that we want to put in there? Okay. Maybe some of you felt that shift of freeing up space, either within you, or you felt it in the void. Maybe you felt a shift or a ripple in time. Maybe you felt a timeline jump. You could have experienced this in a number of ways, but what was happening, whether you felt it or not, is you are freeing up creative energy. So we want to take this and use it, implement it right away, right? This is one of the things that I feel really passionate about, is that if you're just relying on energy activations alone to completely shift or transform your world, you are missing out on this golden opportunity right now to accelerate or expand and evolve your human awakening process. And what that means is you might be in a spiritual activation, an energy awakening, energy alignment, something like that, and you feel this moment of feeling lighter and feeling connected and all that. But if you go back, right back to that way of being, that old you that thinks the same old thoughts, that feels the same old feelings, 10 minutes later, it's like all that good stuff has been negated. So what we do is we want to go back in and put things in with profound intentionality about who it is that we desire to be. With this beautiful creative energy, how do we kind of integrate this release, this energy healing, and then take that energy and start implementing it right away to evolve our human awakening process? Because let's face it, ascension isn't about just ascending the spiritual, it's about ascending the human too. And many of us leaving this part out of the equation. This is bad. This is not a good thing, because ascension involves the total evolution of the human. The mind, the body, the cellular structure, everything. Mind, body, spirit. And we're leaving the body and we're leaving the mind out of this equation when we're thinking of ascension. And this is not what ascension is all about. Ascension is evolving the total human. So we need to go back in and consciously direct the parts that don't get necessarily tweaked or changed in a positive way just through energy activations alone. We have to consciously redirect a level of mind that matches the ascension of our spiritual journey. Does that make sense? So let me ask you this, and this is your homework for tonight. So we're going to work on this a little bit more tomorrow. Who is that highest ideal version of you? Who would you like to become? Let's say you set a resolution for yourself at the beginning of this year. And you said, okay, I want to be more carefree. I want to be more easygoing. I want to be a better listener. Like, what are those traits, let's just say, that the highest ideal version of you would have? More kindness, more compassion, a greater ability to understand, maybe to be more forgiving, maybe to be more open and candid and confident with others, feeling good in your own skin. What are those things? Really get specific here and very detailed about who is that highest ideal version of you, and resist the urge or the temptation to self-edit, to pull back. Because as women, we feel often like our desires are not our own, or it's not really even safe for us. We're suffering this systemic long-term hangover of downplaying of our importance and our ability to express ourselves freely and fully. So we kind of feel like when we declare our desires, our intentions, that we kind of pull back until it feels safe. We test the waters a little bit, and then maybe we add a little bit more. Resist the urge to do that. There's no one that is keeping you from doing that. It's only you. We don't live in those times anymore where we're going to get burned at the stake, or, we're going to be sent to a prison and jailed up for a lifetime because of saying the wrong thing about God or a pope or a cardinal. Those days are over. That's not going to happen to us anymore. We kind of still suffer on a deep cellular level, the hangover of that. But this is not the world that we live in anymore. And the only way we change this paradigm is if we do it remember what I said in day one, on an individual level. We have to carry this forward on our own to change the energy of the collective. We have to start at an individual level. And that means you not holding back on who it is that you want to be. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? What does your perfect day look like? Right? If you were living your perfect day as the highest ideal version of you, what would that day look like? What would you be doing? What would you be wearing? Who would you be with? If you look in the mirror, what do you look like? Okay? What are you saying when you're with other people? How are you showing up in the world? What are you doing? Are you philanthropic? Are you giving? Without condition, right? Do you feel open, free? Do you feel confident? Do you feel courageous? Do you feel like anything is possible for you? Because all of that can be yours. One of the worst things for us as women is that we don't understand that sometimes the most powerful adversary is our own inner critic, is our own inner judge. And that the only thing keeping us from living our ideal right now is that voice. And it doesn't come from anybody else. It may be an echo of voices of, people in your past. It could be an echo of a voice of like a priest that you had when you were a kid, that, in your Sunday school. It could be your mom, it could be your dad, it could be your grandfather. Those are echoes, but that voice of your inner critic, that's you beating up you. Let's get really clear on that. And the worst kind of realization we can have is knowing that we are keeping ourselves from our own ideal. No one else is. And certainly, we don't have that excuse anymore in society. There's no one that is keeping you from being that highest ideal version of you. It's you. That voice of the inner critic. If you let it have its say, it will take you down so many pegs, and it will take you down this rabbit hole of self-doubt, self-criticism. But what if you took the voice of that higher intelligence that you just tapped into in this space, and you allowed that voice to speak to you? That voice that only gives you praise. That voice that only says, look at where you are. Look at where you are. Look at what you've been through. Look at what you've dealt with. Look at what you've overcome. Look at what you've triumphed over. Look at what you've created. That's amazing. And you're here to tell the story. You're here to shine your light because of where you've come from, all your experiences, everything that you've endured, everything that you've seen, everything that you've known. You get to share your wisdom, your light, your knowledge, and your love with the world. What if you let that voice do the talking every day, all day? What do you think you'd be doing in your life? A hell of a lot. So what I share with you in Become the Creatrix is how you let that voice rule the day. Over the voice of the inner critic, the inner judge, those days are over for that voice, okay? And the only thing that's keeping you from that ideal version of you and stepping into that is that voice. And the fact that you are listening to it, giving into it, playing the victim to it. Those days are over if you choose that, okay? So get very clear tonight. This is our homework assignment. I'm getting a lot of hearts, a lot of love. My idea is to get you guys pumped over these 3 days, right? Who is that highest ideal version of you? Maybe you want to look at someone in contemporary society who you admire and emulate. You know, we've got a lot of women in politics right now who are kicking butt and are awesome. We have, you know, women who are going to be, they're talking about being in the Democratic primary in 2020. This is great. Marianne Gresham, Kamala Harris. We've got amazing women in politics, in Congress. This is a great time for women. Like, remember I was talking about yesterday, this momentum, this flow. It's already there. So if you want to really transform yourself, all you got to do is jump into the river. Because that flow, that current, it's already happening. So this transformation that you want to take hold, it doesn't have to start from scratch. This momentum's already there. But it takes your courage and your conviction, your dedication, your commitment that makes you want to jump into this river and say, okay, I'm going to be this now. I've seen what this other way is like. I've seen what that's gotten me, and it's just not going to work anymore. I can't be this person anymore. If that's you, that I want to work with you and become the Creatrix. If you're literally like, I'm not doing this anymore. But it's not enough to just say, I know what I don't want. I mean, we're really good at knowing what it is that we don't want, right? Ask anybody. You go ask your kid, go ask your grandma, go ask your husband what it is that they don't want. They don't miss a beat. They'll tell you right away what they don't want. But you ask somebody, who is your ideal version of self? What is the highest ideal of you? If you could step into that right now, you'd probably be met with like a blank stare, or at the very least, a pregnant pause. You gotta think about it for a second. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. It should be the other way around. We should be living lives where we have to think about what we don't want, because there's so many things that are so wonderful in our everyday existence that we're living more at the level of what we do want and positive affirmation rather than self-negation. Sadly, it is the other way around. It doesn't have to stay that way. But how do we change this in the collective? We have to change it on an individual level first. So let me ask you, what do you really want? Who do you really want to be? Do you know who she is? Do you have a full-on 3D high-def surround sound vision, that desired future vision of you? Because if you don't, when you do all these clearings, you do all these energetic healings, you are creating a void, you're creating a vacuum, that if you don't have clear intentionality of who it is that you wish to become, that old you just filters right back in. And if you don't break the programming, if you don't deprogram, deconstruct that old you, the way your thoughts wire, the way your emotions fire, if you don't deprogram that, you will just go back to that way of being. The way we evolve into ascension, the way we evolve and expand into this trajectory, this pathway of ascension, is to bring our humanness along on this ride. That means we have to reinvent the self. But it's not as hard as you think it would be. It is when we're kind of going through the initial changes, because like I said, the ego wants to fight and kick and scream and throw a tantrum. That's just going to happen. But once we get past that hump, everything shifts. Everything changes. I'll give you a really good example. So the other night, a couple nights ago, I got in a hit-and-run accident. So obviously we're okay. My husband and I were in the car. Thank goodness our dog wasn't in the car. We got involved in a hit-and-run. We were going through an intersection. Car was turning left against the light and sideswiped our car, hit my driver's side, didn't hit me, hit the wheel hub. And once it got clear of our car as we were moving through the intersection, it just kept going, and they fled the scene. I was able to drive the car to safety without hitting a light pole and a tree, which was right there on the corner. Got the car to safety, assessed the damage. Aesthetically, it wasn't that bad, but they had dented the wheel hub, and the suspension was totally effed. It was totally jacked up. Called the police, whatever, got the car home because we were only 2 blocks from home. We were on our way to dinner. Got the car home, took it to the auto body shop, and once they assessed the damage, they said the car is a total loss. Car is a total loss. It's an older car. It's a 2006 Honda Element. The cost to repair it outweighs the value of the car. So that's when this insurance company deems it a total loss. Now this leaves us carless. We have a 2-car family, but that's kind of difficult up here because we live in the mountains, and that was our 4-wheel drive car, which we need. We need a 4-wheel drive up here, and it's the middle of winter. If I was that old me, I would have gone into an emotional tailspin of dire desperation, a sense of urgency, feeling totally attached to that outcome, feeling like, oh crap, what do we do now? Everything's effed, everything's jacked up, I don't have the money to get a new car, I wasn't ready to get a new car. That would have been the old me. Instead, what I did is I looked at the opportunity to, hey, now we get to get a new car, even though I loved that car and I'm very sad about it. But now we have an opportunity to get a new car. That car was an older car. We would have had to look at getting a new one in the next year or so anyway. This way, we recouped the loss on the car, which is probably close to 10 grand or more, which is more that we would have gotten if we had just driven the car to the ground, which you probably would have done over the next 2 years, and then we wouldn't have gotten anything on the trade-in. It was such a safety issue to keep that car. Even if we decided to go ahead and pursue the repairs, we would have worried about the safety of the car all the time. Didn't want to do that. I started looking at all the ways that this was actually a good thing, instead of going into the exact same way I would have as the old Catherine, which would have just gone down the rabbit hole of why is the universe against me? Really, this? And believe me, this wave of energy, this continuing wave of energy since basically January 1st has been insane for many of us. It has taken us on this kind of wild ride of emotional ups and downs. It's been a roller coaster. We're all feeling it in our own way, right? One day we're up, one day we're down. But instead, I realized that how good I am at kind of surfing these energies, even though they're intense. I have a different level of perception now where I'm living at this level of higher intelligence within me. And I'm letting that dictate my perception, how I perceive everything that's happening in my outer world, and seeing rather opportunities rather than limitation. That for me was one of the biggest shifts. And that for me is evidence, it is proof, it is validation that I am a different person for having used these steps. And these steps that I share in Become the Creatrix, you can use them for anything, no matter what you want to release, no matter what you want to create. And it becomes something that you do as you're learning this program. You're learning the steps. It's like a recipe. You know, first when you look at a recipe, you're like, ooh, this sounds good, I'm going to try this. You have all your ingredients, you have all the steps, and you have to keep looking at the cookbook, and you have to keep checking things out to make sure you're doing everything right. So a recipe, until you execute it, until you master it, it's just something that you do. It's a series of steps. But then pretty soon you've made that recipe often enough, you can just do it. It's off the top of your head. And it's a seamless process. That's exactly like the steps in Become the Creatrix. It just becomes eventually this seamless process. It stops being something that you do, and it just becomes who you are, where you kind of don't have to think about it. You do have to take some steps and be dedicated and committed to creating this way of being in the interim, because you're deprogramming, let's just say 30, 40 years of programming. That's going to take a bit. And then you have to reprogram a new you. That also takes a bit. But to be honest with you, it takes 8 weeks to rewire and create a whole new personal reality and personality for you. 8 weeks. But you have to be dedicated. You have to be committed. It's not a passive process. It's not something you do once or twice a week. You have to do it every day. And you have to do it until you become it. You're breaking the habit of being the old you, and you're creating a whole new you that is of your deliberate design. It's so incredibly powerful. It's so incredibly powerful. It changes everything in the way, it changes your whole worldview. It changes your relationships. It changes all the little things in your life that you kind of take for granted or don't even think about. You become hyper aware of who you are, your thoughts, your feelings. You're more metacognitive, meaning you're more aware and tuned in to how it is you feel, present moment to present moment. You become more present. It's a beautiful transformation. So I want to share with you, to help you get clear on, and I really would like you to do, those of you who have been following this workshop and have been here for the first 2 days, do this journey. Let me find it. So this is on my podcast. It is called Journey to the Alternate Self. This is a trance meditation that will take you deep, and it really helps you to kind of design your perfect you. So if you have a hard time getting clear on who that highest ideal version of you is, you know, what does she look like? What does she feel like, more importantly? This will really help you. So do this meditation. Start writing down some things, you know, some let's just say altruistic traits that would define the highest ideal version of you. Kindness, mercy, compassion, loving, a good listener, understanding, right? And then start thinking things like, you know, I want to be more courageous. I want to show up in the world, be fearless, right? I want to be powerful. I want to be self-possessed. That's one of my favorite words. Self-possessed, self-aware, whatever that is for you, okay? Get really, really clear. Think about that core emotion that you came here to today's day 2 workshop with. What would be the opposite of that, okay? And start expanding on that energy. And then start thinking about the things you would like to do. If you were this highest ideal version of you, what would you be doing? What would your daily life be like? What kind of people would you surround yourself with, right? Things like that. And then I want to also give you this link for the 7 levels deep exercise, because remember what I said about the 2 things that are really, really important for us, like getting clear on who it is that we want to become so that we can change our lives for the better and be that highest ideal. There are 2 things involved in clarity that are really, really important. Having clear intentionality, being really clear on that person you want to be. What kind of attributes do you have? Like, what kind of emotions do you have in your day? What are you feeling into? What are you doing? You know, how are you being? Okay, you have to get really clear on that. But the other part of that is, why do you want to be this person? Ultimately, your why is what carries you through the momentum, gives you that push behind becoming the new you, that makes you, while you're on this journey of becoming the new you, an immovable force, meaning nothing in your outer reality, no triggers, nothing that happens in your external environment can move you from this path of creating the new you. Your purpose, your mission, your why is everything. So this is the 7 levels deep exercise also. So I got you some great tools today, some great things to think about. I am going to be putting the link is in here to join Become the Creatrix program. It's only going to be open till for 8 women. On Sunday, this offer of $1,250, which is $500 off the full price of the course, that expires Sunday night at 9 p.m. Pacific time. If you are called to this, and if you are ready to invest energetically in this level of work, please come and join me. It is amazing. You're going to change your life. You're going to change your life. And for the better, because you get to design it. You get to step in and create your life, be the deliberate architect of the life that you desire. And in terms of that, I mean, this is a steal on that course, because you'll have these steps. It's like a rinse and repeat program. So you can use these steps that I share with you to release or create anything that you want in your life going forward. Doesn't matter what it is. More wealth, your life partner, a better job, a new career, the perfect friends, the perfect job. Maybe you're looking to not only create a career for yourself or a job, maybe you want to create a whole new business from scratch, or you want to take your business to the next level. I have women who have used that, who I've worked with one-on-one over this summer. That's the woman who made the $1 million mark this past summer, or this past winter. We started working at the end of the summer, early fall, and then she hit that $1 million mark before December 31st, which is crazy. So there it is, ladies. I want to thank you for joining me live. Tomorrow we'll wrap this up. I will be sending out, if you're on my email list, Days 1 and 2 will be sent on the email today, and along with the link to join up for Become the Creatrix. There will also be an invitation for you to have a quick call with me if you're not sure this course is for you and you want a quick 25-minute chat with me for free. We can talk about this to see if you're a good fit for this course, and that will be in today's email as well. I want to wish you all so much love and peace. You're welcome. I will see you tomorrow right here on my Catherine Massell Ascending Earth Creatrix business page, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time for our final day of this workshop. Love and peace.